Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're doing another video, another review. The video we're doing is a Christmas episode that MLP did, called Heartswarming Eve, or I think it's pronounced Hearthswarming Eve, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not exactly sure on how to pronounce that. This basically is sort of like Christmas, but a little bit different. It doesn't follow the same way that we would celebrate Christmas in a way. So it starts off with the main six heading to Canterlot, and apparently Celestia wanted to put on a pageant. Apparently they put on every year for Christmas, for Hearthswarming Eve, and they're playing basically the stars of it. So they get there, and they're going to they're going through Canterlot, and you see all of it decorated in like Christmas trees and ornaments and decorations and all that stuff, and it's just really, really pretty. So then it cuts to them actually in the back of the theater that they're at, where they're talking about basically sort of how they're going to be in the play and all that, and then suddenly a window opens up and they start arguing because no one will close the window, and it's sort of what will happen, sort of like a preview on what will happen in the play, the story that they're telling. Basically, it's the story of how Equestria was founded, and which I didn't actually expect from this one, and from this episode they would be doing that, which is very unusual with the other episodes. So finally, the play starts with Spike telling about sort of about how before Equestria was founded, how there were three tribes: Unicorn, Earth Ponies, and Pegasi, and each of them sort of had a role. Earth Ponies would farm and grow crops and stuff. Pegasi would control the weather, of course, and then Unicorns would control the day and night cycle. This was apparently before Celestia and Luna had taken reign, which is confusing because I'm kind of curious of when exactly they took reign, when they became the rulers of Equestria. It doesn't really say. So it shows, apparently what's been going on is apparently there's this huge blizzard that has covered their land, and each of them are arguing and fighting, because the Pegasi, apparently the Earth Ponies believe the Pegasi are making it snow, the Earth Ponies are not providing the food, and the Unicorns are just, I don't know, Unicorns are just mad, because I guess they don't get any food either. They're apparently, I guess, controlling the night and day as normally, but I guess because of the weather they can't do it properly. I don't know, it just never explains why the Unicorn are mad other than they can't have food and because of the snow. So finally they held a meeting. Also, I forgot to mention, each of the main six actually plays a character, apparently had the role on how Equestria was founded. Rainbow Dash plays Commander Hurricane. Pinkie Pie plays Chancellor Pudding something, and then Rarity plays Princess Platinum. Twilight plays Clover the Clever, which is apparently the Rarity's sort of assistant. Applejack plays Smart Cookie, which is Pinkie Pie's assistant, and then Fluttershy plays Private Pansy, which is Rainbow Dash's assistant. And each of them go to this meeting to sort of discuss on how they're going to sort of solve this problem, and of course they don't solve it. They end up arguing and they end up leaving, and no one really knows why the weather is going on. The Pegasi aren't apparently doing it, but they don't really know how, so they end up arguing and leaving the meeting early, so the meeting never got finished and they never solved the problem. They each go back home and sort of discuss with each one of their assistants on how the meeting went and how it didn't go well, and then it cuts to them saying that they need to find a new land. They all say that they need to find a new land, so they go out and find a new land, which apparently is Equestria before it was named Equestria. And when they get there, they all plant their flags, and they realize that knowing that they all planted their flags at the same time, that they're all in the exact same spot that they all planted their flags at. The Pegasi were up in the clouds, the unicorn was on top of a cliff, it looked like, and then Chancellor Pinkie Pie was on the ground, and which is strange, because I was curious at how they didn't see each other. Like, I know this is a play, but still, it sort of has this sort of like going back and forth being a play and then being sort of like real life like aspects. So it was kind of weird. So if that was sort of how it happened in real life and in the past, then I'm kind of curious of how they didn't see each other. But yeah, eventually, of course, the leaders start fighting again, which leads to them figuring out that it's snowing where they came. Where when they went to the land, it was snowing, and they have no idea how the snow happened and why it apparently had followed them, which was strange. So finally, they end up finding shelter in a cave, which leads to only more arguing between each of the leaders. And they end up sort of splitting the cave into 3 ways, spot for the Pegasi, Unicorn, and Earth Ponies, which only leads to, of course, more fighting and problems and stuff, until finally ice starts covering the cave entrance, and they're trapped in there, and then that just leads to more problems. It just ends up becoming a huge mess, all this, until finally the leaders end up sort of like frozen in ice, sort of like, ice is covering their body and it's freezing, which is strange and weird. I did not expect that. I don't know how to respond to that. But finally, all that's left is the assistants, and sort of, at the end it sort of follows them, and they're just all sort of hanging out with each other and realizing that they don't have any problems with one another, and that they're, they end up becoming good friends, and ends up sort of, and I don't know how to talk about this, like, they start becoming frozen over too, until they looked up and saw these creatures above them, which are apparently wendigos, and that's why they've been covering the land in snow, because they've been feeding off the anger of all 3 tribes of the ponies, and until they, think they're doomed, until all of a sudden Clover the Clever, Twilight, ends up sort of, doing some type of weird magic thing, and sort of forms of, sort of like, I don't know how to call it, a fire heart or something. It's like magic shoots out of a horn and then like forms a heart, which ends up sort of, warming them up and melting the ice on them, and sort of they stay like, they sort of, it stays there, and then they sort of, the leaders aren't melted at the same time they are, but apparently they sort of, stay in the cave and sing, and sort of, sing songs, which are apparently the carols they sing on Hearthwarming, until eventually the leaders melt when Spike says that the songs warmed and the fire warmed the hearts of the leaders. The ice starts melting and they become free, and then it sort of ends with them being friends and all that stuff. I know it's a very weird episode for me to talk about, because it's basically a play, and sort of ends with them singing a song about, friendship and all that stuff, until finally it ends with them in the back. The show truly ends with them in the back of the theater getting undressed and ready to leave, when when they start arguing again, because a window, apparently the wind blew open a window again, they start arguing again until they hear this loud roar. I don't know what it is, and Rainbow Dash goes up and flies to the window and shuts it, and it sort of ends with a shot of the theater, I guess, that it's in. So yeah, that's basically how it ends. This episode is unique because it has sort of like, it's basically a Christmas episode where we learn about how Equestria was created, which is unique because we haven't really gotten episodes like that in all of the seasons. I'm still wondering how the princesses came to be, because apparently they weren't in rule when the 3 tribes were separate. So yeah, there's not really a lot of problems I have with this episode. So yeah, it's definitely a good episode, and it is a good Christmas episode. There's another one that's out called Hearthbreakers, which follows Pinkie Pie and Applejack going to Pinkie Pie's family and sort of celebrating and see how they celebrate Christmas, which is very unique to. It's very similar to Scaremaster with Fluttershy, and I may do that one. I'm not sure really, but I will see about it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and goodbye.